Okay, welcome to this example of the web tutorial that deals with a class called RectangleProgramFive. And if you remember, we extend the JFrame, which is a characteristics of object-oriented programming, where someone already wrote the JFrame object that we can take advantage of some of the code that they already written. And also by having the JFrame inherited, it allows our Java programs to run on all the different platforms that support the JVM. So as I previously mentioned, we have a class called RectangleProgramFive. And at the highest level, or at the class level, we declare these variables. These are constants. Notice the final keyword. We have a private J label, and we have 4 of them. We have private J text fields. We have 4 of them. We have private J buttons, and we have 2 of them. And the reason we make them private and we make them at the class level is so this class can have access to it and nothing else can, because that is also another example of the characteristics of object-oriented programming. Do you remember what that is? I'll give you a second. And it is encapsulation. And if you remember, a constructor is a piece of code that is executed when the object first gets loaded in memory, and it has the same name as the class. It's public. Notice no return type. And in our constructor, we set the title and we set the size, and the set title and set size are methods that are found within the JFrame. And if you look here, we instantiate the labels by saying new JLabel. And then we call its constructor of the JLabel, passing what caption or what text we want on the label. If you look over to the right, here is the JFrame as it's created. Here are the labels, here are the text fields, and here are the buttons. So here we instantiate the text fields, 4 of them. We instantiate a button called Calculate B, and its text on it is Calculate. You can see that right there. And then what we do is we link it to its event handler, or the piece of code that when I click on the button will execute. So we instantiate, whenever you see the new keyword, we're instantiating an event handler or a class in this example. It's an event handler that's a class. And then we're linking the button by add action listener to the code that will handle the event. If you come down here, we have the exit B, which is a button. We're instantiating it. We're instantiating the event handling code for the exit button. And we're linking the button to its handler. And here is where we actually add these components or these objects to the frame. And you can see right here we have a container called pane, and we do a get content pane call to the method, which is also in the J panel. And notice we set the pane to a layout of a grid. We want 5 rows and 2 columns. Let's come over here. This is row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. This is column 1, column 2. And if you look, we add the length label, and that goes here. We add the length text field, that goes here. And then when we add the width, it goes here. And the width text field goes here. And you can see the area label, area text field, the perimeter label, the perimeter text field, the calculate button, and the exit button. We set it to visible, and we have a close operation. Now I'd like to draw your attention to a piece of code here. Notice we have a private class, so it is a class within a class. It's called Calculate Button Handler, and it implements the action listener. And you'll see this name is what we declare up here. So of course, as always, this is the object type, and here's its name. So this is the code or the class, and here's what we're calling it in our program. And if you look right here, you will see we are instantiating that event handler, and we're linking it or registering it to the calculate button. Now, one of the rules of Java is a contract. When you have a class and you say implements action listener, the rule is you must have this piece of code here, public void action perform action event e, just as it's typed here. This is the beginning of it, and this is the end of it. And what basically happens is when I click on this calculate button, I have linked the calculate button to this code, and it will come in and it will operate on the information that the user entered by taking what's in the text field. Notice it has a getText method, very different than Microsoft Visual Studio, which just has a text property. That gets put into the double by parsing it, and it goes here. We take the width text field, get the getText property, convert it to a double, and put in here, and we do some calculations. And notice when I'm ready to put the information back to the screen, I have to use the set text. Make sure you put the parens, a space in the area. And if you go down a little further, you'll see an exit button handler implements action listener. And just like above, you notice it has to have a public void action performed. And it's okay if the name's repeated because it's encapsulated within this class. And it's encapsulated within this class. So they're separate. The scope of it is separate. So I have linked this button, the exit button, to this class when you click on it. And the action perform fires and exit, it will exit the system. And the last thing we have is our good old public static void main, where this is where the program actually starts execution. And you notice, see this RectangleProgramFive? That is the name of the class up here. We are calling it RectProg in our program, equals new RectangleProgramFive. And we all know the new means it's going to load that class into memory. And the RectangleProgramFive, this actually calls the constructor. So let's go up here. This constructor fires and it builds the frame that we can now operate. So I'm going to put the length of the room to be 14. The width is 20. 20. This is going to be calculated. This is going to be calculated. I hit calculate. And if you recall, once I hit calculate, this code fires. And if I click the exit button, this code fires, and that is what we have.